Welcome to MINDSHOCK. This is your host, Bruce McGuire. And this will be one of the biggest Illuminati Cabal exposés on all of the interwebs. Yes, the centerpiece is The Last Dragon, but I will explain in typical MINDSHOCK fashion why that is, and how the entire entertainment industry is connected to the satanic Illuminati cabal and the players involved in this movie, and how it all spiderwebs outwards. And I will also give the story, the greatest Hollywood story never told, and possibly the most important. I simply cannot understate the importance of this podcast. Long time in the making, many years of research. And again, it might be, it's not, I don't want to say it's not really about The Last Dragon. It's sort of not really about The Last Dragon, but we'll get to it as well. If you want to help support the MINDSHOCK podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, the Bruce McGuire channel here. Hit the bell for notifications. If you're not getting them, you can also become a patron. Even in the free tier, you will be getting the updates for free. You can also help support the channel by becoming a YouTube member right here on YouTube, and also check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit as well. Questions, comments, theories, thoughts, suggestions, rebuttals, debunkings of any kind, leave them in the comment section, or if you are with us live, drop them in the live chat, and I will try to get to each and every one of them. So first of all, before we go any further, is there anyone here who is prepared to say that The Last Dragon is not the greatest film in existence? Now, I'm not going to say it is, but I don't think I'm prepared to... I don't think I can definitively state that it is not the greatest film in existence. I mean, a gun to the head, I just don't think I can say that it's not. Again, I'm not going to say that it is. There's a lot of great contenders out there. But I really can't say that it's not. Welcome everyone here. Lord Zed, Flat Bob, Aaron. Justin Johnson. Heracles says, it may be shown off. Who's the master? Now, I have to admit, I have not seen this film. I actually watched it, I watched it again the other night in preparation for this epic podcast, and I was going to actually contain it to The Last Dragon somewhat, but the more I researched, the more I realized that this could possibly blow the entire Illuminati cabal wide open. The ripple effects from this film can bring the entire Hollywood Illuminati cabal down. And that's what we're going to do. What we're going to start to do. This is obviously going to be a very extensive multi-hour. I mean, this is probably going to have to be part one, because I don't see how we can get to everything in one episode. So we actually have people in the chat who have not seen the film. I'm actually a little bit shocked. So, other than watching it recently the other night, I actually hadn't seen it in probably at least 2 decades. I'm ashamed to say. I don't think I've seen it since the 90s, other than when I watched it the other night. And yes, it does hold up. It's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it doesn't get much more 80s than The Last Dragon. It's also a very interesting title that perhaps betrays a lot more than it intends to. And we'll be getting into that as well. B. Carter in here. Sarah Catherine's got the popcorn already. I mean, this is going to be a dark one. This is going to be a dark one. Lord Zed says chairman of the board is a close second, but I can't argue. It's a different category, my friend. We're going into the dark realms for this one. We will be peeking into the abyss here. Now, for all the coincidence theorists, we're going to start with a brief introduction into the entertainment industry, particularly the music industry. Actually, I don't know how I want to play this. I mean, should we... Let me see here. Should we start with... I'm actually thinking... I'm trying to think if we should start. We're also going to be covering... believe it or not, gay Bigfoot is going to factor into this. I know people think it's crazy. But, yeah, this is going to be one wild ride into the abyss, and gay Bigfoot is along the way, as well as many others. Now, to set the stage here, I mean, it is kind of tough. So Berry Gordy, king of Motown, of course, it's actually, his story has been so sanitized, so to speak. It's actually kind of crazy how anything negative has been relatively scrubbed from the internet regarding this individual here. I mean, that's one of the most fascinating things. Like, you can find dark stories on just about anybody in Hollywood. But Berry Gordy, so some people say he was one of these casting couch type of guys. Who did the casting couch for both genders. Some people allege that Timok might have been a victim of his as well as Vanity, and we'll be getting into Vanity, the forgotten 1980s queen of music. But yeah, Berry Gordy. So this is really tough because, yeah, this guy's basically been, any kind of misdeeds of his have been completely scrubbed from the internet. I was actually hoping more people in the chat would be familiar with this classic, this cinematic masterpiece from 1985 known as The Last Dragon. Heracles says this is a hidden classic, no doubt. I mean, it's not that hidden. Abby Normal says, wasn't he involved with Michael Jackson? So he was involved with Jackson. I mean, the Illuminati ties are there, but what's fascinating, like, I think I'm pretty good at digging up info and receipts. Pretty much everything about this guy, any kind of negativity, has been completely scrubbed from the internet, including all archives and caches. I mean, isn't it kind of crazy? Doesn't that that rose an eyebrow for me? Now, I wasn't big into Motown. I actually have to admit, I had no idea who Vanity was until this movie. And I really didn't know who she was until afterwards. But one of the reasons I had to do this this podcast is actually, we're going to be centering on her for a lot of this. Heracles says it never really had a TV life like other 80s movies. It actually did. That's where I saw it. I saw it on TV maybe twice in the 90s. Now, it wasn't as crazy. I think it was mostly in bigger city areas with minority populations. Even though it wasn't, back in the 80s, yeah, it was a mostly black cast. But it wasn't really, I mean, obviously that was intentional to a certain degree. But it wasn't, the whole race nonsense wasn't rammed down everybody's throats the way it is today. So it wasn't like a DEI movie. The reason Timok was in the movie is because he was the best guy for the movie. Just like Vanity. That's why they were in the film. And Shogun Shonuff. they were the best for the role. So there was none of this DEI nonsense. So, and that's why this movie was so great. Heracles says, I saw it in a theater. Wow. I wish I had. I wish I had. But yeah, I saw it. So Abby Normal in here saying, wasn't he involved? Yes, Berry Gordy was involved with the Jacksons, not just Michael. But like I said, what I found really, really eyebrow raising, is that everything negative about him has been completely scrubbed from the internet. Like, you can find Illuminati conspiracy theory deep dives on just about everybody. Michael Jackson, everybody. But this guy, not really. Not really. So, I mean, he dropped out of high school in the 11th grade, and he was a professional boxer, drafted into the U.S. Army in 1951 during the Korean War. Now, after he returned from Korea in 1953, he wrote songs, opened a 3D record mart, a record shop with jazz music and 3D glasses. I mean, wow, this guy was definitely some kind of visionary. But the dark side of Barry, the dark side is just, it's been completely scrubbed from the internet, because I do remember certain kind of rumblings about this guy. I mean, this guy's A-list. I mean, here he is with Michael Jackson and Elizabeth Taylor. I mean, this guy was definitely the top of the heap when it comes to the entertainment industry. But there's very little information. I mean, people aren't really discussing him on forums. Like, you can find anybody, just about anybody else, you can find the dark secrets, so to speak, or rumors of. But this guy has been so sanitized. I mean, the most you can find is that he might have had some mafia ties. But that's about it. I mean, there's none of the Illuminati satanic occult rumblings that you see with just about everybody else. And then also, supposedly, Berry Gordy and Jimmy Carter are cousins. Jimmy Carter just died a few hours ago, actually, which is kind of crazy. Obviously, I had this planned before that. I didn't know that. Obviously, I had no way of knowing that that would happen. But the synchronicity with The Last Dragon and everything it touched is going to shock the minds like no other podcast. I mean, we are going down so many rabbit holes here. So, just in general, yeah, I mean, it was a excellent film. Highly entertaining, as 80s as it gets. Everything from the fight scenes to the soundtrack, and it's just a really solid film. Philosophical base, it's got a good philosophical base to it too, which you don't see anymore. I mean, it was kind of a wholesome film, which is that's actually where we're gonna start. We're gonna start from. Wow, Heracles, that's dark. Heracles says they heard you were going live and they made the call to pull the plug on old Jimmy. That's dark. And is he 100 even? I mean, yeah, it's weird. Some people actually think Jimmy Carter is JFK. I never understood that one. But yeah, so he died at 100 years old. Born October 1st, 1924. So, yeah, I never really understood the JFK conspiracies connected to Carter. I mean, there's plenty of other ones, but yeah, the Carter ones I never really got. But yeah, I mean, the rabbit holes are going to be going really, really deep. So who here has seen the film? And what is everybody's opinions on this film? Aaron says Carter never looked like JFK. Yeah, I really don't know where those theories came from. I mean, there's definitely theories that are in the plausible realm. That one I never quite understood what the basis of that one was. So, what does everybody think of this film? It was actually surprisingly well reviewed by Roger Ebert, who was a notorious hater of martial arts action movies. And Ebert on RogerEbert.com, he actually gave it 2.5 out of 4 stars, which is, I mean, that's kind of almost unheard of. I think the only higher rated martial arts movie he might have given was Steven Seagal's Above the Law. He gave that 3 out of 4 stars, obviously. I mean, that's kind of blasphemous as well, but it's Ebert. And so, yeah, let's see what he gave. So he said The Last Dragon, funny, high energy combination of karate. I mean, it's not karate, it's kung fu. Romance, rock music, and sensational special effects. It's so entertaining that I could almost recommend it if it weren't for an idiotic subplot about a gangster and his girlfriend. Yeah, that subplot was kind of dumb, but those are the scenes that, obviously anything other than Timok and Vanity, it actually was a little weak, and Shogun. Other than those three, I mean, they made the movie, obviously. Last Dragon stars 2 remarkably attractive and likable actors who have one name apiece. The hero is played by Timok, a 20-year-old karate student who has not acted before. He was actually 19. He was 19, one of these rare big Hollywood movies that actually cast a teenager to play a teenager. I mean, he could have been 20, 21 in the movie. Billy Blank, I know a lot of people don't know this. Billy Blanks was actually originally cast in The Last Dragon. Billy Blanks, obviously, very awesome in his own right. Be kind of a different kind of movie because Timok's innocence is kind of what made the movie, and we'll be getting into that. I mean, we'll be going down so many occult rabbit holes. Anybody that's not familiar with MindShock is not going to know what hit them trying to watch a podcast about The Last Dragon. Yeah, Heracles, I'm going to play some clips in a moment. I'm just kind of organizing here because this is such a deep podcast. There's so much to cover. I'm just trying to wrangle it. It's a massive undertaking. I know people aren't going to believe me, but it is. I mean, if you've seen the Steven Seagal series here on MindShock, then maybe you will believe me. That is all back online, by the way, so you guys can check that out. It's 20 to over 20 hours of Steven Seagal receipts. Okay, so natural screen presence. The heroine is Vanity, the rock singer discovered by Prince and used as a warm-up act some of his concerts prior to the current tour. Of Vanity, let it be said that she has the sort of rapport with the camera that makes us like her instantly. She has a sunny smile and what can only be described as a sort of inner happiness, and in the middle of this plot about gangsters and nightclubs and bloody fights, she floats serenely, a joy to behold. In less than 12 months, Prince has introduced 2 electrifying actresses, Apollonio Kotera from Purple Rain and now Vanity. There's another engaging actor in the movie, a man named Julius J. Carey III, who describes himself as the Shogun of Harlem, and who presides over a hilarious early scene where he marches into a movie theater full of Bruce Lee fans and threatens to fight everyone in the house. Also, this film had some pretty good special effects for an earlier film, kind of Masters of the Universe vibes as well on the special effects side. So here, yeah, I'll play the trailer here.
a martial arts champion in search of the glow.
Master, I need more time.
I am no longer your master.
A rock and roll star on the rise.
I know what it's like to lose precious things.
And this is obviously fair use for the people who don't know what fair use is. This is all fair use. And, of course, here, for those who don't know who Vanity is, Denise Matthews, possibly the most stunning female entertainer in history, and we'll be getting into that. And for the MindShock listeners, they know I don't say that lightly. I don't think I've ever fawned over any female celebrity, but here is one that is just absolutely stunning in every sense of the word.
A madman.
Shogun of Harlem.
A maniac.
You're gonna put my video on your show, aren't you?
The answer is no.
And the glamour, the power, and the sound of Motown.
I don't want you to kill anybody.
Are you out of your mind? And the Leroy Green I'm looking for is a little punk. Thinks he's a kung fu master.
I am no master.
You sure look like a master to me.
This is Berry Gordy's The Last Dragon.
Once again, all fair use, all the time, on MindShock. Fair use here. Nothing but fair use. Yeah, the soundtrack is absolutely out of this world. I mean, just absolutely out of this world. Lord Zed, super fair use. Yes, this is super fair use here. And that was actually Ernie Reyes Jr. there. In, was that his first role? I'm not really an Ernie Reyes Jr. fan. But, to those that are... Gee, was that his... I don't know if that was his first movie. Let me double check. Let me see if that was his... Yeah, it was actually his very first movie, 85. He was also in Red Sonja. Both 85. So, that's interesting. But, yeah. That's a capital W, capital O, capital W for Vanity here.
It's about the power of the glow. Time Clock. Vanity. Berry Gordy's The Last Dragon. Directed by Michael Schultz, a Motown Productions picture from TriStar.
There really isn't any other movie quite like The Last Dragon. Aaron says, Bruce, you're turning me on to this one. Think I'll have to watch it. I mean, if you like 80s movies, I mean, The Last Dragon might legitimately be the greatest movie of all time. I can't say that it's not. I'm not going to say that it definitively is. But I just can't rule it out. I just can't do it. Aaron says, it's funny, in 85 I had a well-fixed friend who was helping to bring the film industry to Boston. I went with her to a couple of meetings. That's pretty cool. Yes, it's all about the glow. Flat Bob says, I didn't see a single reptile in that trailer. Well, oh man, it's pretty dark actually. It's pretty dark. We might have to do a watch party on this film as well. But this podcast really isn't about The Last Dragon. I don't know if people might be disappointed in the title. It's not really about The Last Dragon. But it is a fantastic film nonetheless. Fantastic soundtrack. And just the sheer charisma of Timok and Vanity. I mean, I'm going to get into Vanity in a moment, but I want to set the stage for the coincidence theorist and just so everybody knows what we're getting into here. If you are just a random coincidence theorist goof who stumbled upon this stream, and you don't believe that there's any kind of satanic occult influence within the music industry and Hollywood, this will set the stage here. So, yeah, we're going into MINDSHOCK land. And so this is the Devil's Choir. This is a Rumble channel made this video, I believe, or uploaded it. I made a few modifications here. Fair use, obviously, all about this fair use.
Lucifer is lonely.
Biggest rumor though now, that I sold my soul to Satan.
Gotta sell my soul.
Decode for us, what is the meaning behind the numbers 999?
Oh, cool. So I got it tatted on me.
Yep.
Right here. 999. If you're a person that believes anything that's any type of thing has to do with the Bible, I think in the last book of the Bible it say that 666 is the mark of the beast, right? And that's Satan. That's Baphomet. That's hell. 999 represents taking whatever hell, whatever bad situation, whatever struggle you're going through, and turning it into something positive and using it to push yourself forward.
Oh, snap. Okay, you're talking Revelations right there. Okay.
Rapper Juice WRLD has died at the age of 21.
You a demon? No, but I have demonic energy. Oh, I may be a demon. I don't know. You tell me. Born of a masochist, I'm all for the map, my lord. So Baphomet, he said in the 7-year fire, gave you one thing you needed. What is this thing I pleaded? Warriors defeated even. Yeah. As I spoke, my fingers are strong. Taking it back, he smiles and tells me, what you crave is some remorse.
So, one selling their soul for fame and fortune is, of course, well known. I mean, it's almost cliche at this point. But for some reason, a lot of coincidence theorists, authority-worshipping cultists, bootlickers, they just can't fathom. They think this is all mere coincidence, or that these entertainers are just screwing around and trolling. And maybe some of them are. Maybe some of them are. Let's not fall for false dichotomies. There probably are some no-names who do it for attention. But those who get to the very top, are they all trolling? For what? Fair use, obviously.
What I crave is over mine. That's it. Anymore.
Rapper XXXTentacion was shot and killed in South Florida Monday.
What is the scary voice on your tracks? What is that about? That D. Oh, yeah. That, you do that?
Yeah.
And they just modify it, whatever?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So, what is the purpose? What is it? Is that like a signature?
It's my signature, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, to me it seems a little dark, a little...
I'm a dark nigga.
This is the sign of the horns. A curse sign, 2 fingers extended. This way, spread apart for sort of shotgun blast.
He was only 21. A popular YouTube star and emerging rapper Lil Peep died last night, right before he was set to perform in Tucson.
It'll be hard for me and you to talk about theory since neither of us know a damn thing about it.
Right, which is why it's good that I should be interviewing you on this occasion.
Yeah, but see, we know about a lot more other cosmic things that are floating around in the universe and in this very room today, things that are circling around, that hopefully we'll be able to be vehicles for these things and let them come pouring through our nostrils today. Things that are circling around, and hopefully we'll be able to be vehicles for these things and let them come pouring through our nostrils. Pouring through our nostrils.
Did anybody think I was joking when I said that this would be one of the big ones? One of the biggest Illuminati exposés thus far. I mean, we're just getting started here. I'm just laying the foundation for the coincidence theorists at this point, and then we're gonna go deep. Fair use.
I heard ghosts on the whole record, and I'd always say, "Don't you hear those ghosts? Listen." And so he'd go, "John, not everybody hears them, just we hear them."
Come pouring through our nostrils.
At the time I was seriously into cult stuff and black magic and all that kind of thing. I had this little apartment which I'd painted black and had all these upside down crosses all around the place. Pictures of Satan everywhere. And Ozzy brought this book around for me. It's like this really old 15th century like old book. And it was all written in Latin. It was all about black magic. It had all these like drawings of Satan and everything in it. And I just had a really weird feeling about it. And that same night, I woke up in the middle of this horrible nightmare and I just saw this like black shape at the bottom of my bed, just like staring at me. It was like a black, malevolent thing, his horrible feeling of it. And I just totally freaked out. And I told Ozzy about it. And he came up the roots to back that.
Dark and demonic energy that this industry was built on. And people manipulate young women, they manipulate kids, and at the end of the day, it's all for the dollar and all to feed their ego. So I've seen some shit where you're like, that's just not right.
A rapper kicks a female fan in the chest hard at a Polk County nightclub, and controversial video of the incident is blowing up online. Holly Bounds joins us now live from Lakeland outside Rumors nightclub. Holly?
Good evening to you, Jen. About 400 fans piled in here Friday night to see rapper Kevin Gates, but one who made it to the front row walked away in pain and headed to the hospital. A starstruck fan struck by the star himself. This video of a Lakeland
You stupid bitch. You talking about my beads. Devil worshiping beads. Cool. You hear me? But if you're a Christian, your Bible says you're supposed to love God, your neighbor as yourself, and your enemy. So if you're commanded to love me if I want to serve the devil. Are you a hypocrite?
The core of Masonry really is to help good men become better. We work on the man's relationship to his family and to society and to his spiritual being. The core of Masonry really is to help good men become better.
There's a couple things you need to understand so there is absolutely no misunderstandings about anything dealing with this case.
In January of 2007, Lindsay entered Wonderland Treatment Center, located in the Hollywood Hills.
We work on the man's relationship to
You know what's kind of crazy? Like, how much of a devout coincidence theorist do you have to be? Because obviously there are certain poses that are kind of natural, but putting one hand inside of a jacket or coat like that, I mean, that's not exactly a natural, comfortable pose that somebody would accidentally do. And now the other side of this, which I've talked about a little bit too, is I think some of the people behind the scenes may be telling some of these actors to strike these poses, or these entertainers, and they don't really know. They're kind of useful idiot pawns, or just these vessels for the Illuminati propaganda message. And, but some of them are probably in the know as well. Let's not fall for false dichotomies. Could be a little bit of both.
to his family and to society. And to his spiritual being. Spiritual being.
They take you into a small room and they tell you to strip down. This is where you get a little bit nervous.
Salsa tells himself it's just fraternity monkey business, but his anxiety increases as the ritual continues.
They asked me to take off my crucifix and my wedding ring.
The core of Masonry really is to help good men become better.
God bless. The problem is that there's not enough money in music as a business model, where in television and where, you know, vis-a-vis the advertisers and movies, there's so much money that the controlling forces still circle around the stars in the right way. Stars are taken care of better in those industries. In the music industry, it's still very much this exploitative thing. It's still very much people signing their life away, you know, the old deal with the devil stuff.
The old deal with the devil stuff. I don't know what he was smoking either. Like, most actors are treated like complete trash, casting couch, exploited, etc. So, yeah, in the chat, people are talking about sports figures that play the game. Lord says McNabb never won Super Bowl because he didn't play that game, in my opinion. And this is actually, you guys are onto something. Perhaps you will know why I chose The Last Dragon to spiderweb this entire theory and break it wide open. Because what happened to Vanity and what happened to Timok? But one step at a time here. Let's finish the intro for the coincidence theorists.
You are of your father, the devil, and the desires of your father you want to do. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth because there is no truth in him. When he speaks a lie, he speaks from his own resources, for he is a liar and the father of it.
All right, man. Well, just so you know, man, you're one of the nicest people in the music industry. I've seen you multiple times. You're always super nice. It's good that nice people are still around.
Sir, I'm trying my best.
Thank you so much, man. Good seeing you.
Everybody told me so. Feeling like I sold my soul.
And how much of a coincidence is it that all of these top musicians, they're singing about selling their soul? They're talking about selling their soul in all these interviews? I mean, what is the obsession with that if they didn't do it? Like, why would they feel like they did it if they didn't do it? I mean, the coincidence theorists need to answer some of these questions. Now we're going to get to Prince. So Prince is actually the one that launched Vanity into superstardom. And we'll be getting to that. And now, why is his name Prince? What kind of the Prince of Darkness? I mean, there's so much regarding Prince. And I have to admit, I didn't even know who Prince was. Not really. I mean, I'm sure I've seen in the background. I'm sure I had seen his images, etc., and heard his music. But I didn't really know who he was until probably 1999. When they started playing that track, Party Like It's 1999, all over the place in 1999. But yeah, I mean, obviously I knew who Michael Jackson was. I mean, I really wasn't into pop music. I was actually more into the heavy metal side. I think I've said that before. But I mean, I liked all genres, but probably a little bit, probably listened to more metal than anything else, which of course is infested with occult Satanism. But Prince is actually one of these Illuminati figures that people have wrote the most about online. Like, again, with Berry Gordy, everything's been scrubbed. With Prince, not so much. You can find a lot on him. They're actually going to reveal something kind of crazy right here.
Prince turns around, floats away. Now, Prince was at least 6 to 8 inches off the ground, levitating as he floated away. Watch this. I take my phone, even though Prince says don't take a picture. As he's floating, I'm like, I take the picture.
Yeah.
Right? I show everybody, I'm like, look at this shit. Everybody like, yo, it really look like he floating. I'm like, he is floating.
Bro, you see everything,
right?
Bro. Yeah.
After a minute, I showed Envy, I showed Angela, I showed my producer Q. We all come to the consensus, my really floating. After a minute, the picture that was in my phone, that's what the picture was, turned black.
Obviously, the Freemasonry chessboard, very popular across all media and symbolism. So, yeah, with Prince, he was also one of the first gender-bending guys into all of that, just for reference. So, yeah, I mean, this isn't really going to be about Prince. We're going to have to touch upon him, obviously, a little bit, but, yeah, I'll be getting into Vanity in a moment.
Those aren't Tennessee Christian values. I live in Tennessee. I am Christian. That's not what we stand for. I am Christian. I am Christian.
I don't like your little games.
What happened today?
When I took the 32nd degree of Freemasonry, it says that Freemasonry's goal and aim is to rule the world.
Rap God, I'm the rap devil, come a bare face with a black shovel.
I never would have rapped. I sold my soul to the devil, I'll never get it back.
We work on the man's relationship to his family and to society and to his spiritual being.
I've nurtured every sensation man has been inspired to have.
I don't wanna stop just because
I cared about what he wanted and I never judged him. Why? Because I never rejected him in spite of all his imperfections.
I'm not here Celine Dion singer who's got 3 kids, who's going to tell the world right now, you should do it this way, you should not do that, this is wrong. Listen, I'm not doing that. Let them tell you what they feel like.
Hey everyone, this is Jazz Jennings, and I wanted to say congratulations to the Saga 6 and Amy Lyle on
Yeah, I mean, at some point, even the most devout coincidence theorists have to start questioning how many photos of somebody putting a hand to their lips for silence and doing the OK6 symbol over their eye. I mean, how many times is every single celebrity going to do that on every single major magazine or album cover? I mean, at some point, even the most devout authority-worshipping cultist, bootlicker, coincidence theorists, they have to ask the questions, don't they? So hold the line in the chat saying, forgive my ignorance, what's the significance between The Last Dragon and these celebs? The underlying theme of the Illuminati cabal's control of the entertainment industry and how it all works is the connection, because we will be getting to both Vanity and Timok and how it all connects to occult Satanism within the industry as a whole.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Did I sell my soul? I sold my soul for you. Now figure that out. Tell me, did I sell my soul? I sold my soul for you. For all you motherfuckers that's on here that's asking me did I sell my soul, why the fuck is y'all on here if y'all think I sold my soul? Y'all coming right with me, you dummies.
It doesn't matter if you believe in Satan. It doesn't matter if you believe in demons. What's important is to know that there are people out there that do, and they're willing to do anything to accomplish their goal.
You know, this is all nonsense, and I feel like, knocking on their heads and asking if there's anybody home up there. It's done in secret.
Snap out of it!
The person of Christ is my way to understand God.
Yeah, right, stop blind.
Bono actually would hope and wants to turn the world on to the movies, which are propaganda movies, of the Satanist Kenneth Anger. Bono sees it, speaking of Zoo TV Network, as a window for the world to the films of Kenneth Anger. Part of America's dilemma is its TV, because as a mirror, it's a pretty distorted one. I mean, where can you see Kenneth Anger's films in the United States?
You've tweeted sometimes about witchcraft, like very cryptically. Or do you practice magic?
The amount of that's about to come off my floor right now, guys. Oh my God. 3 years worth of brujeria.
It was an event so terrifying it changed America. One of the most infamous murders in the U.S. And now one of the young women involved is asking for freedom after 37 years in prison. Susan Atkins was a member of the Manson family, convicted in the 1969 murders of actress Sharon Tate and 4 others.
What the hell are you?
Playing at some party or something, it was like a whole different guy. You hear those stories about the bluesmen that go out to the crossroads and sell their soul to the devil and come back, all of a sudden able to do stuff. Robert Johnson, Tommy Johnson, out of the mythology was one of those kind of deals almost. When he left Minneapolis, he was just average. You know, there was 5, 6 other guys doing the same thing. When he came back, he's doing Woody, and he was doing Van Rock, and he was finger picking. He was playing Crosshair. And this is a matter of a couple of months. I mean, this is not like he was gone, you know, a year or anything.
That's when I went to the crossroads and made a big deal. You know, like, yeah. One night, and then went back to Minneapolis, and I was like, hey, where's this guy been?
Now, this interview actually continues. I'm going to play it in the next video. For some reason, in this video, they cut it off here with his satanic smile. But, you know, and the deal that he made. But there's a follow-up question, and he gives a very clear answer. We're going to get to that in the next video, which is only in a few minutes. So, yeah, just bear with us here.
Yeah, he went to the crossroads.
Crazy, this is crazy, this is crazy.
Here's a critical quote from Jimi Hendrix. You can hypnotize people with music, and when you get them at their weakest point, you can preach into the subconscious what you want to say. This is really, really dark occult stuff, and a lot of people, a lot of these so-called artists, I mean, they put a lot of chanting, subliminal messaging, backwards speaking into the music. I mean, it's really, really crazy stuff here. The coincidence theory is obviously too mentally weak to even consider the implications of all of this. But, I mean, clearly there are a lot.
And that Great Seal of the United States has on it, Novus Order Seclorum, a new order for the centuries, for the ages, forever.
Well, I've been an admirer of Aleister Crowley. I think that I'm carrying on much of the work that he started over 100 years ago, and I think the 60s themselves. You know, Crowley said he was in favor of finding your own self and do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law under love. It was a very powerful statement. I'm sorry he isn't around now to appreciate the glories that he started.
Aleister Crowley, the man who called himself the Beast 666, black magician,
drug fiend, sex addict, and traitor to the British people. In 1920, Aleister Crowley founded a commune in Sicily to practice the beliefs that he said would one day sweep away Christianity and free men from all restriction and repression. 3 years later, Mussolini deported Crowley and his followers from Sicily after reports of human and animal sacrifice.
I have exposed myself to every form of disease, accident, and violence. I have driven myself to delight in dirty and disgusting debauches, and to devour human excrements and human flesh. I have mastered every mode of my mind, and made myself a morality more severe than any other in the world.
I don't really talk about Crowley much because it's just such dark stuff. You don't want to stare into the abyss too long. But I did see a theory that perhaps that was kind of flipping the script on Crowley, and they say that it's all some kind of psyop or something. But hold the line in the chat with an interesting question. You think even the ones with one-hit wonders sold out? I always thought the ones with one-hit wonders or that kind of just disappeared from the scene refused to get down with the get down, so they're out. John says, one-hit wonders, I believe, didn't sell out, so they were taken out. Here's my theory. I think a lot of these people are teased with fame and fortune, and then they're tested. They're small incremental tests. I think a lot of the one-hit wonders, they never even got the opportunity to take the oath or make a deal with the devil. Because the masters and controllers thought that they weren't that useful. Like, maybe they thought they maybe they would take the deal, but who do they want? They want these pure souls, and that's why I'm going to get to Vanity. And I think, and why her story, I think, is the most important story in the history of modern entertainment and Hollywood and the Illuminati cabal, which is why it's the greatest Hollywood story never told. And I don't think the powers that be want it told for one particular reason. And we're going to get to that reason if they don't shut down this stream first. But yeah, with the one-hit wonders, I think there's a lot of different possibilities. I think some of them might have even I think most of them never even got the opportunity to take the oath, depending on how big of a one-hit wonder and depending how dialed in they were into the industry, you know, with friends, family, etc. And I think a certain percentage might have actually sold out and taken the oath, and then they just, for whatever reason, they pissed off masters and controllers, and they just were never given more. I mean, let's not fall for false dichotomies or trichotomies. I think there's people in all different categories here.
1,000 years from now, the world will be sitting in the sunset of Crowleyanity.
Step into the rain, I feel like I'm just a sheep, but right now I'm a wolf.
Masons rise in ranks known as degrees. For most Masons, the highest degree possible is the 32nd.
There is one rank above that, which is 33rd degree, which is a rank of privilege. And at that point, you're supposed to be somebody who has a really firm command of Masonic tradition, rites, and rituals.
Freemasonry's goal and aim is to rule the world.
I, Ishtar, High Priestess and Witch, do summon and stir thee.
Needless to say, sold my soul.
I've heard say they believe KRS-One is a Mason or something like that. And if you didn't mind speaking on that and what your thoughts are.
Yeah, well, where do I start? No, I'm not a Mason. Let's start there. I studied Freemasonry, though. Studied for about 20, well, coming up on 20 years now. Studied Freemasonry. I've known Freemasons all my life. They trust me with their secrets.
Yeah, all these high-level Freemasons are just randomly trusting him with their secrets. I mean, does he not realize how any of this sounds? Or does he, but he doesn't care?
They trust me with their symbols. They trust me with their knowledge. I'm considered a 33-degree Master Mason, but I'm not a Mason.
So not only is he considered a Mason, but he's considered a 33-degree Master Mason, but he's not a Mason. I mean, does he not understand how he sounds? I mean, this is pretty weird. Flat Bob says, what crazy is my grandpa was a 32nd degree Mason. I never met him. He died before I was born. But I hate that I'm related to one. Well, did we go over the whole Mason conspiracy? Supposedly, if they were a benevolent group that got infiltrated and co-opted, and the lower levels, because I've known some lower levels and friends, friends of friends who had family members, and they're supposedly very good people, and they have no clue what goes up on the top levels. And they generally just help the community in charitable causes. So, yeah, I don't know, I don't know that we could just say all these Freemasons are evil, or that they always were. Maybe even the higher levels were benevolent at one point and they got infiltrated and co-opted, which seems to be the case for almost every organization.
I'm sort of what you would call an honorary member because I understand the truth.
Heart-shaped kisses, I really miss my mistress. And 666, evil bitches want my mention.
Okay, one more video here for the coincidence theorists, just for the intro here, and then we will get into the one and only vanity.
The devil has always fought the purposes of God. Has always fought the purposes of God. Wherever you may be in this story of the incarnation of Christ, you're never going to be far from the devil.
Blood Sneakers, Lil Nas X's collaboration with art collective MINDSHOCK, were released the same day as the video. The 666 pair of sneakers are black with red trim and feature gold pentagrams, inverted crosses, as well as human blood inside the sole.
You know what's absolutely insane is how out in the open all of this stuff is now. I mean, this is just really, really crazy. I mean, in decades past, they would do stuff like this all the time, but it wouldn't be out in the open and openly reported. I mean, hidden hand used to mean hidden. It wasn't completely out in the open. So, yeah, I mean, this is just openly reported everywhere in the mainstream. Not to mention looking at all the music videos, the Super Bowl halftime shows, the Olympics ceremonies. I mean, it's just crazy stuff.
Blood inside the soul.
He was there at the beginning. He was there through the ministry of our Lord.
Thank you to Satan for giving me inspiration on how to play this role.
He was there at the end as well. He came for Jesus at the beginning, and he came for him again at the end.
In recent years, the Satanic Temple has crisscrossed the country, applying to start after-school Satan clubs in California, Ohio, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Virginia. It makes no secret of its strategy, targeting schools where the Good News Clubs already serve children.
So I don't really know what to make of these after-school Satan clubs. I think it's some kind of I think it might be more of a psyop. Not that there aren't elements within it that really want to corrupt and the children and all that, but I think it's more of a psyop distraction because the true damage is being done elsewhere because they want to say, oh, look over here. Here's the blatant Satan clubs. Stay looking over there. Don't look at all of these hidden, infiltrated areas doing far more damage. But I mean, both are obviously part of the agenda. Justin Johnson says mockery, yes. Yeah. And there's definitely something, so the temptation of Christ and just the moral of that story. I mean, it's going to get crazy in this podcast. I mean, we're going to be going down some previously unexplored paths here on how some of these demonic influences and Satan himself, if you believe in that entity, I do not claim anything is true or untrue. This is MINDSHOCK, where the only thing we know for sure is that we don't know anything for sure. I do not claim anything is true or untrue. We just examine many different theories using the available information and attempt not to fall for any logical fallacies like everybody else seems to do in the mainstream and otherwise. But the most important story never told is, I believe, that of Vanity, Denise Matthews here, the co-star in The Last Dragon. And just bear with me, all of this will make sense, and the connections to The Last Dragon will all be made.
You know, had we sold our soul to the devil, how else can you explain us being here on the
I got introduced to the music industry. I swear I wanted to be like the Amy Grant of music. Yeah. But it didn't work out, and so I sold my soul to the devil. Well, needless to say, sold my soul.
So about a week, not today, but about a week ago, I sold my soul. You understand what I'm saying? And ever since I sold my soul, I haven't been happy ever since.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And on this earth, and then in the world we can't see.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And this earth, and then in the world we can't see.
This clip, this interview with Bob Dylan is actually, I don't remember how many years ago I saw this. It was quite some time ago. this interview was the first interview, because I don't want to say I was a coincidence theorist, but I wasn't 100% sold that every single Hollywood celebrity was in on it. And everyone at the top of the music industry was in on it. At that time, many years ago, I just thought that there were random people who were into occult Satanism, etc. And, you know, maybe some of them had powerful ties in government. But in my mind, I was kind of, I don't know if it was cope or dissonance. Well, at that point, I mean, I don't know, I just hadn't seen enough evidence. But to see Bob Dylan openly say this, was that a CBS logo there? What is this? This is like a mainstream documentary here. To openly give this interview and say that openly, not just openly, but with a smile on his face. And does that face not look demonic? I mean, does that look like a wholesome face to anybody? Heracles says that was 60 minutes. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I knew it was mainstream. It was a mainstream interview. I mean, this is crazy. This is really crazy. And whatever year this was, I mean, it was many years ago now. And that got my attention. And that got me re-examining again, where if you ask some of these entities or possessed entities, if you ask them direct questions, they can't lie. We've talked about that many times. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe that's a psyop too. Maybe that's all part of a screwing around game. Or if the chessboard is representative of some kind of rules of the universe, then maybe they can't violate the rule. Or maybe they can, but there's a penalty. So usually they don't want to pay that penalty because it could be a severe penalty. So in certain cases where it means survival, maybe they'll pay the penalty. But in most cases they might not want to pay the penalty. Perhaps that's the answer. And it's not 100% in either direction.
We live in a culture that is literally worshiping and celebrating Satan. You might think that the number of actual Satanists and Satan worshippers is very small, but Satanism is actually far more complex and widespread than just involving a fringe minority. The proof that Satanism is already a major force in Western culture is that Sam Smith gave an explicitly satanic performance at the Grammys, perhaps the most prestigious and mainstream award show in the country. And when we take a deeper look at what exactly Satanism stands for, it's easy to see why Satanism is now mainstream in Western cultures.
So the temple, the Satanic Temple, the Temple of Satanism, or whatever this ridiculous organization is, it claims to be non-theistic. They say that they don't actually believe in a personal Satan, like the supernatural being that would be Satan. Instead, they hold these basic secularist principles, but they call it satanic because Satan is the adversary of God, and God supposedly does not like these principles. And as you will note, the crossover between the fundamental tenets of the Satanic Temple and the fundamental tenets of sort of left-wing liberalism at this point are almost indistinguishable, which is why the Satan Con 2023 schedule featured, and I'm now reading you the names of some of the events at Satan Con 2023. Deconstructing your religious upbringing with Judas Marduk. Fake name, right? Reclaiming the trans body. Atheistic strategies for self-determining and empowerment. Ah, yes, the trans body. Because, obviously, Satan is a big fan of the trans, according to the Satanic Temple.
Well, you said it, pal.
Sins of the Flesh, Satanism, and Self-Pleasure from Dr. Eric Sprenkle. Reimagining Lilith as an archetype for reproductive justice, according to Amanda Barton. And Satanism and the BIPOC Experience from Sitlali and Panel. So just to check off those boxes, that would be why religion is terrible. That would be transgenderism. That would be hedonism and masturbation, abortion, and racial intersectionality. Those are the things that are being reviewed at SatanCon 20.
Okay. So in the chat here, Aaron says, wow, now I wonder, had a friend, she and her mother knew Dylan. My friend did not like him. Yeah, maybe ask your friend some more questions about all of this. Was it the vibe? Justin Johnson says Sam Smith's transformation from his early career till current is nuts. Well, look at all of them. I mean, there's tons of these pop singers that started off relatively wholesome, and they all go down this satanic path. While the coincidence theorists kind of say, "Oh, that's all nothing to see here."
23.
What this means is that Satanism is essentially the same as secularists who worship and celebrate sin and selfishness. They hate the Bible and biblical morality, and they use Satanism to fight against and mock Christians and Christianity. It's precisely this rebellion against the Bible and God's moral law revealed in the Bible that also leads people to mock and distort everything that is traditional and everything that has been normally accepted throughout history.
And here it is. It's an Instagram post of Harry Styles in what appears to be Seinfeld's puffy shirt. Or there might be a blouse stitched together from his grandmother's tablecloth, I'm not sure. And he's eating a banana, and the caption says, bring back manly men. Which is what Candace Owens had said. So that's a clapback. Now, a few things here. First of all, are we really going to pretend that this man doesn't look stupid as in that ridiculous outfit? The problem here is not that it's one.
Man,
Please ignore
it. You think I
think twice?
The message.
I know my breastplate is straight, got a couple.
The nature of this CBDC, what is it actually going to
The video makes some more parallels to the Great Reset, etc. We're not going to get into all that stuff. So, that was a kind of a coincidence theorist introduction to occult Satanism within the entertainment industry. So now we're going to get into the one and only Vanity, the co-star in The Last Dragon, and possibly the greatest story, what I believe to be the greatest story never told within Hollywood, and also possibly the absolute most important. The absolute most important. And I mean, this is kind of tough because I'm assuming there are people here who do not know who she is. And and that's actually part of the conspiracy, because you have here possibly the most charismatic, dynamic, electrifying, magnetic female entertainer in history, and nobody knows who she is. Now, people say she wasn't A-list. She kind of was. She kind of was A-list for a period of time. And she was involved with a lot of A-list people within the music and film industry. And she had that intangible it factor. She was also a pioneer in everything relating to music. I mean, Madonna, Janet Jackson, I mean, all of these major stars actually copied her style. She was the true innovator. Now, whether that was good or bad in certain aspects of degeneracy, we're not talking about that at the moment. We're just talking about popularity, and we're talking about innovation. I mean, the amount of energy she had, I don't know if there's ever been a female entertainer like this. And for the people who think I'm blowing smoke, you're about to be in for a rude awakening. I mean, everybody copied her. And this might be blasphemous to some. If I had to pick a male entertainer who had the most charisma ever and was the most electrifying and magnetic, I'd probably have to pick Bruce Lee. No offense to Ty Mock here. For the female, yeah, John Kilroy says Tina Turner had energy. I would put Vanity above them all. And you're all about to see why. Now, obviously, Whitney Houston had a great voice. I mean, Tina Turner had a good voice, too. And energy. But I say they all pale in comparison to the one and only Denise Matthews, a.k.a. Vanity. And for those who do not know who she is, again, that's part of the conspiracy. Why do you think you don't know who she is? Why is that? I'll put up a few clips of her in a second, then we're going to go over her full life story. Just absolutely stunning. I don't know if I've ever rated a female as a perfect 10. This might be as close as you can get. And again, there's obviously a lot of degeneracy here. It's part of the conspiracy. I'm not endorsing it in any way. But look at the style. You can see how Madonna basically copied everything. Madonna, the original Queen of Pop. But I don't think she could hold a candle to Vanity. Even though Vanity, admittedly, not the best voice, not the best singer, not the best actress. But in terms of energy and charismatic personality, I don't think there's a close second. She was actually a model before she became an actress. Her most famous song was actually, well, one of her most famous, her breakout hit was actually Nasty Girl, which one could also argue set the bar for degeneracy. Here's an idea, just the whole wearing of lingerie on stage and in all the videos. She kind of pioneered that. I don't think any females were doing that before her, and everything wrong with the music industry in terms of just the, I guess the overt sexuality and degeneracy of it. Technically, it was started by her. That's where some of the innovation comes in. Not that it was a good thing, but just kind of an undeniable thing. John Kilroy says Aaliyah was kind of like her. I wouldn't say so. She was cool, though. Aaliyah was very cool. There was something absolutely just... It's kind of hard to even describe the appeal of Vanity. Just like you can't look away. She just kind of sucks you in with her energy. Just how glamorous she was, and also, I mean, we're gonna go over interviews, so you'll be able to hear her voice and how she talks and her personality. I just don't think there was anybody like her before or after. And again, part of the conspiracy is why a lot of people don't even know who she is. She actually had a respectable movie career after The Last Dragon. We'll get to it, but she was in Action Jackson with Carl Weathers, a couple other movies. Nothing super big, but most people just know her from The Last Dragon. I mean, everybody kind of knows Janet Jackson. She was actually supposed to sing some of Janet's songs. There was a lot of mismanagement, etc. John Kilroy says, I think she dated Prince. Yes, she did. And no, she was not a sacrifice. very, very strong spirit. Possibly a lot of satanic occult witchcraft, etc., which we'll get into as well. But just her bone structure, the proportion of her face, and then, of course, her personality and energy. I mean, I don't think Madonna can hold a candle to her in any way. I mean, the closest, I mean, maybe you could say Britney Spears had like a lot of, she had a lot of energy, but just not quite as magnetic. Not quite as magnetic. Alright, so let me go through, I'm going to go through the wiki here. Her life story. Then we'll get into her interview. So this is just the wiki breakdown. I was actually hoping we would have some people in the chat who were fans of hers just to have additional, because I didn't really know. I mean, I had only seen her in Last Dragon. I had never listened to her music, and even now, like, I can't say her music is that great. But she is. Okay, so Vanity Denise Catherine Matthews, born January 4th, 59, died February 15th, 2016 at the age of 57. Known professionally as Vanity, was a Canadian singer, model, and actress known for her image as a sex symbol in the 80s. She became an evangelist and renounced her career as Vanity in the 90s. Again, like I said, this is possibly the most important entertainment industry story never told. There's a reason why there's not movies and documentaries about her, and we're going to get into that. Vanity was the lead singer of the female trio Vanity Six, which was created by the musician Prince. Known for their 82 hit song Nasty Girl, they disbanded in 83 when she decided to embark on a solo career. Vanity released 2 solo albums on the Motown Records label, Wild Animal and Skin on Skin. She had minor hit singles with Pretty Mess, Mechanical Motion, Under the Influence, and Undress from the 88 film Action Jackson. I think you guys are noticing a theme here. Vanity also had a successful career as an actress, starring in films like The Last Dragon, 85, 52 Pickup, 86, and Action Jackson. After years of drug use, which caused health issues, Matthews became a born-again Christian in 1992. She later devoted herself to her church in Fremont, California. Matthews died on February 15th, 2016, age 57, due to kidney failure, and there are some theories about the true nature of her death as well, which we needed to get into. She was born in Niagara Falls, Ontario, January 4th, 59. Daughter of Helga Senek and Levia James Matthews. Her mother was of Polish-Jewish descent and her father was African-American. Matthews had 3 sisters, Patricia, Deborah, Renee, and several half-siblings. Her father died when she was 15. Matthews revealed to Jet magazine in 93 that her father physically and verbally abused her for years. The abuse caused her to have a negative self-image. Quote, "For 15 years, he beat me badly. I wish I could see my father in heaven, but I won't. He's in hell," she said. Early career, 77 to 81. Matthews began entering local beauty pageants before moving to Toronto, where she modeled. She won the Miss Niagara Hospitality title in 77 and went on to compete for Miss Canada in 1978. There's actually a video of that as well. This is her at 18 years old. before the drug abuse, before Hollywood. I mean, this story is also really sad in a way. So nobody in the chat here, in the live chat, knew who she was in the 80s? So once again, this is her at 18 years old. Miss Canada pageant. At age 7, oh wow, she might have actually, wait, was that, she was 17 or 18 here. At age 17, she moved to New York City to further her career. She signed with a Zoli model agency. However, because she was short in stature, her modeling career was limited to commercials and photo shoots and excluded runway work. Vanity appeared in commercials for Pearl Drops toothpaste before completing a modeling stint in Japan. She also appeared on the cover for Nightlife Unlimited's 1980 album, Let's Do It Again. And wow, what a cover that is. Matthews had a small role in the horror movie Terror Train. That's a classic, which was filmed in Montreal in 1979. She then went to Toronto to film the lead in the 1980 B-movie Tanya's Island, which we'll get into. She was credited as D.D. Winters for both films. And wow, what a movie that is, for those who haven't seen it. Music and acting career, 82 to 93. Matthews appeared on the cover of the funk band Cameo's album cover, Alligator Woman, released March 82. And wow, what a cover that is. I guess some could argue that is a reptilian theme. She met musician Prince at the American Music Awards earlier that year. I'm actually gonna stop reading the summary here and we're gonna dive right into the videos, make this a little bit more interesting here. And I don't want to spoil too much for those that are just listening and learning about her for the first time. So we're gonna watch all this in order. We're going to watch all of these interviews in order, but basically, Prince spotted her. She actually, well, I'll let her tell the story here. I will let her tell her own story, so buckle up, folks. This is a Where Are They Now segment that gives a nice summary of her life.
Denise Matthews joined the Prince camp in 1980. Under the guidance of the Funky One, she was renamed Vanity and appointed leader of Vanity 6. She soon became sick of her skimpy outfits and Prince's sinful persona. In 1984, she and the Purple One parted ways. Where is Vanity now? In 1980, Prince met a former toothpaste model named Denise Matthews and turned her into one nasty girl.
Obviously, this is all fair use all the time. Nothing but fair use here.
He tried to convince her to change her name to get attention. Prince suggested Vagina. She chose Vanity. She became leader of a camisole-wearing girl group called Vanity 6.
Prince's original name for the group was actually the Hookers. Wow, that's Prince's deranged mind here of degeneracy.
Even though there were only 3 of them. In 1984, though, Prince and Vanity broke up. He went on to create Apollonia 6, and she got engaged to Motley Crue's Nikki 6.
Okay, so is everybody keeping up with the Illuminati occult symbolism? So Vanity 6, so obviously the 6... You guys can guess why it's 6, right? Can people in the chat guess why the group's name was Vanity 6 and not Vanity 3? Anybody take a guess? It's fairly obvious. Well, there's 3 members of the band. Nobody can guess? This is kind of funny. This is kind of funny. Nobody can guess? Flat Bob says, because they're Satanists. I don't know. They technically, I don't think we're Satanists. Abby Normal says 3 6s. Well, what does that mean exactly? Lord Zed got it. Yes, it is a reference to, what's the easiest way to say this? Somebody said it in the chat, or in a different stream. They're cones. There's 6 cones in the band. That's why they were called Vanity 6. Now, I think it might have even been Lord Zed who brought back the cones word. That's a funny word. That's actually very 80s, right? So, keeping it 80s. So, she's in Vanity 6, and then she gets into a relationship with Motley Crue's Nikki 6, S-I-X-X. I mean, wow, and we're just getting started with the 6s, by the way. I mean, it's just, that's why I did that intro video, because a lot of coincidence theorists, they think it's all mere coincidence, but is it really? Is it really?
He went on to create Apollonia 6, and she got engaged to Motley Crue's Nikki 6. Both relationships were soon 86'd. Then Vanity searched for answers in the form of past life regression.
My last life I was a ballerina. I just found that out this year.
So where are they, she, now? Hallelujah! Today, Vanity is back to Denise.
Vanity was this person that was supposed to be glamorous. And when you looked at her, you saw glamour. And you saw everything that you possibly wanted to be. When I looked at her, I hated her. It was nothing that I wanted to be. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, yes, Lord. I was so messed up on drugs, and I never believed that I could actually be delivered from cocaine. Save us, Father.
Just when she changed her life by becoming born again, Denise learned her time was about to run out.
First they told me I was going to die. Then they ripped out my kidney. Oh, man, I felt like I had been tortured.
Denise spent months in intensive care for kidney failure. During that time, Prince called to wish her well. They reportedly haven't talked since. These days, Denise has found herself a new prince, defensive end for the Oakland Raiders, Anthony Smith. Vanity may be damned, but Denise is the happiest she's ever been.
Even when I'm upset, it's better than what it used to be. Does that make any sense? And boy, I can talk like the Dickens when it comes to Jesus Christ. Somebody stop me.
And look how happy she is. Like, you could see that incredible spirit, whether she was strung out in Hollywood or now. It's like the spirit couldn't be dominated, and it couldn't be taken by all the demons. It was too strong. And I think the listeners might be kind of getting why I chose this particular podcast and why the powers that be don't want anyone to know her story. Now, even people in the chat and everybody were talking earlier, it's like when people try to get out, they get killed because you can't escape. Was Vanity one of the only ones who could escape? How did she manage that? So, here is a career retrospective. This was produced by the YouTube channel. Again, there's not a lot out there on Vanity, which again, that's all part of the conspiracy. You would think there'd be a ton. I mean, realistically, she should be as popular as Madonna or more, or at least Janet Jackson. So this video was put together by the YouTube channel Stardust Daily. So let's check this out. Fair use, obviously. Nothing but fair use here.
Constantly looking for somebody to love me in my family. My mother had left me on the doorstep one day when I was about 4 years old, and she had just dropped me off. Then she dropped me off at my father, but he said that he was not my father. Then I became this person that was beaten and tortured and tormented. And
we're serving some piping hot 80s tea, and you've got to buckle in for this one. We're talking Denise Matthews, or should we say Vanity, the girl group queen with a name that screamed glamour and a life that yelled drama.
But I do like the name because of that old glamorous feeling for some reason, and just to have the name Vanity. When I first was given it, I thought, God, I have to live up to this name, you know. It wasn't something you could really just take in all at once. I think probably in the last year I feel that it's a good feeling it's my name, and I feel like it's me now.
Denise Catherine Matthews was born on the 4th of January, 1959. This Canadian stunner was a singer, songwriter, dancer, actor, and model with a mixed background. Think German-Polish mama and African-American dad, who rocketed to fame in the 80s.
I started very young, about 15, and I was modeling for quite some years.
Denise Matthews, who we all know as Vanity, a smoking hot sex symbol, had a life that was all kinds of dramatic. Oh yeah, behind that gorgeous smile laid a dark secret.
I was constantly looking for somebody to love me in my family. My mother had left me on the doorstep.
What do you mean your mother left you on the doorstep?
Yeah, she left me on a doorstep, you know, one day when I was about 4 years old, and she had just dropped me off. You know, that's your mom. And I was very much in love with I had a really bond with my mother, but she left me because she was about to marry a man that did not want any black kids, you know, and whatever that was. But, you know, that's a part of also forgiving, you know, a root of forgiveness. Then she dropped me off at my father, but he said that he was not my father. So then I became this person that was beaten and tortured and tormented, and, you know.
What age? From 4?
Yeah.
4 through what?
Until he died, which I was 15 years old.
Now let's get this straight. You're talking about beaten and tortured by?
My father.
He was your
all of us children.
biological father?
All of the children were.
Biological father?
Yeah, well, you know, he says he wasn't. Mom says that he was.
Wow.
But you know what? The beauty of this whole thing, because everything works together for the good, and I really trust in that, Jesus became my daddy. He became my mother and my father. He became everything to me.
Her dad passed away when she was just 15, but not before leaving a trail of tears and shattered self-esteem thanks to years of physical abuse.
You see, my father would make things to beat me with and spend hours beating me. And he was very cruel and very wicked. And
when you went to school, didn't the teachers know?
You know, back in that time, people just didn't talk about it. It wasn't a big, you know, do you remember?
Girl, who needs enemies with a father like that? In a bombshell 1993 interview with Jet magazine, Denise didn't let that awful childhood hold her back. She took all that drama and turned it into straight-up rocket fuel, leaving that negativity in the dust. Before she was setting the music world on fire as Vanity, Denise Matthews was already a total pageant queen. She snatched the Miss Niagara hospitality crown in 1977, then sashayed across the stage at Miss Canada the next year.
Now let's go back to Jim on stage for the final decision of our judges and the crowning of our new Miss Canada 1978.
This ambitious teenager set her sights on the modeling world by 17, ditching Niagara Falls for the bright lights of New York City. Standing at 5'6", she was a tad short for the runway, but that didn't stop Denise. She landed gigs with Zoli Model Agency, shilling everything from Pearl Drops toothpaste to rockin' photo shoots. And get this, she even went international, becoming a total glam goddess in Japan. Denise was a pretty face, but she brought so much more to the table. She set her sights on Hollywood too, landing a steamy spot on the cover of Nightlife Unlimited's album, Let's Do It Again. Let's do it again, let's do it again, let's get into the feeling. Plus, she snagged roles in horror flicks, Terror Train, and the B-movie Tanya's Island.
Tanya, a young actress, alone on an enchanted island.
All filmed in 1980.
Is that Bigfoot or a standard gorilla? Is that Bigfoot? I have to admit, I haven't seen this movie. Have not seen this film. I mean, obviously the modeling industry is also kind of notorious for the drug use and occult to an extent. No, we didn't get to gay Bigfoot yet. I don't think this is the one. He seems to kind of like her. Should I spoil the movie on the rest of this scene here, or does everybody kind of imagine where this scene is going? Yeah, this is tough. This is tough. Fair use, obviously. Look at all this fair use.
This girl was on fire. Fast forward to 1982, Denise meets Prince at the American Music Awards.
It came about the American Music Awards. That's why it was really nice
to be able to give him an award, the Purple Rain Award, at the American Music Awards. I quite enjoyed it. I was talking to the president of the William Morris Agency, and I said, I want to be a singer. I want to be an actress. And I just started whining. And he was telling me I had to concentrate on doing one thing, and I had to move to Los Angeles because New York was no place to try and start all this commotion. And
I mean, is there anybody not absolutely enthralled by this woman? And we all know what happens to pure souls in Hollywood, and how the Illuminati satanic cabal loves their pure souls, and how they want to corrupt them. And again, this is why I think this is the most important story never told. Lord Zed is absolutely enthralled as well. Justin Johnson. I mean, like I said, I don't think I've ever bestowed a perfect 10 on anybody. Any celebrity, let's put it that way. Any celebrity. This might be the one and only. The one and only certified 10 by Bruce McGuire.
I went and I cried to my best friend, Hal Ray, who is now my manager, and I said, oh, I'll never be a singer. And that night, he says to me, here, take 2 tickets. I mean, he was always trying to stop me from crying, right? Take these tickets and go and go to the American Music Awards and have fun, and you'll forget all about it tomorrow, and you'll wake up happy or whatever. Well, that night is the night that I met Prince.
Oh, is that right?
The lady came up to me and she said, do you think that you could take him to the bathroom?
She asked you to take Prince to the bathroom?
Is that a drop-dead line or what? I mean, I haven't had that line ever.
Did you take him?
Oh, gosh, no.
He was smitten by her smoldering beauty, and then he heard her sing, and Prince just knew she had to be in his girl group that he had initially named the Hookers. Can you imagine that name?
Prince said to me one day, after we'd been seeing each other for a while, he said, you want to form a group? He said, if you really love me, you'll come with me. Ooh. It's a heavy statement.
But here's the real shocker. Prince wanted to name Denise Vagina. You heard that right. Thankfully, Denise shut that down faster than you can say too spicy. They settled on Vanity instead because Prince thought she was his purple princess.
Did you select Vanity?
No, Prince gave me the name Vanity. I think that he probably summed up myself and probably a little bit about himself. I think there's probably some vein in everybody. But I don't think he gave it to me for the reason that, you know, at least my friends don't think so. So it makes me feel better. I think my name, when I see it, that's what when I think of Vanity, I think of vanity. I have so many clothes. If you spent the day with me, I have so many clothes and so many trinkets.
She also looks like she's not really wearing much, if any, makeup. Not in the performances, obviously, but in some of these interviews or some of these candid shots. In the chat, somebody mentioned Cindy Crawford over her all day. I don't think so. I don't think so. Not purely physical, and also if you factor in personality. I just, Denise Matthews here is one of a kind for sure. John Kilroy says Prince preferred men. Well, the jury's out on a lot of that stuff.
Pretty little things, you know, very feminine little things. And I dream of my closets, my vanity, to be that way, pictured that way, and then just closets and closets of clothes.
The group also got a new, slightly less X-rated name, Vanity 6. They only dropped one album, but a song titled Nasty Girl from that album became a total bop. Especially overseas. And let's just say their wardrobe wasn't exactly grandma's finest. Honey, we're talking lingerie on stage. Vanity totally rocked the whole bad girl image, like the ultimate sexy, nasty queen. Everyone was talking about her. Vanity and Prince continued their steaming romance and appeared on the cover of Rolling Stone together. Oh, honey, you ain't seen Scandalous till you saw Vanity on that old Rolling Stone cover with Prince.
Okay, we got some serious Cindy Crawford fans in the chat here. I don't know. I'm going solid 8 to 9. Maybe 8.5. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. Flat Bob says he went to get Cindy. Yeah. John McClure says, I actually saw Cindy Crawford in real life. I'm pretty sure it's a man. I don't know. What do people say about her personality? I mean, I don't know. I just don't see greatest of all time status here. I mean, pretty solid. Pretty solid model. What are you going to say? But I don't know. I mean, just the sheer magnetism's just not there. I mean, she's pretty proportional, sure. But the sheer magnetism of Vanity, she does not have, my friends. All right, let's get back to this.
This was back in the day, mind you, when they were both young and, well, a little too handsy. Girl had fingers practically walking down Prince's zipper. Let's just say they weren't exactly shy about showing off their chemistry. But then, drama. Out of nowhere, Vanity ditches Prince and the group to go solo. She signs with Motown and drops 2 albums, with singles like Pretty Mess and Under the Influence. Exactly chart toppers, but hey, at least she was doing her own thing. And get this, she becomes a full-on actress too. We're talking starring roles in movies like The Last Dragon.
I know what it's like to lose precious things, and then of course to find them again.
Girl was living her best life, even without Prince. But leaving Vanity 6 in 1983 also meant ditching the chance to be in Prince's musical drama film, Purple Rain.
Look at all this fair use going on here. So much fair use. Somebody mentioned Kathy Ireland. Another solid model from back in the day. I kind of forgot what she looked like, though. Let's see. I don't know. What year are you talking? Could probably put her on the level with Crawford, maybe. Or maybe not. Wow. There's quite an assortment of images here. Let's see. I don't know. Yeah, actually, I probably would put her under Crawford. Not quite super impressive. She looks pretty good in her 50s, though. But this is from 1980 something. Pretty standard model. I'd probably even go 7. Okay, anyway, regarding Purple Rain, supposedly Prince only offered Vanity like $3,500 to $5,500 for this movie, and she basically came up with the movie with him. It was her idea, and then Berry Gordy supposedly offered her some kind of multi-million-dollar deal, and then she got about $300,000 to $500,000 for The Last Dragon. So clearly a no-brainer there. Yeah, Kathy Ireland's kind of inconsistent in a lot of her images. Some of them she looks pretty good, some of them she doesn't. So, I don't know. Could be a lot of makeup, a lot of photo touch-ups.
Word on the street says that this had more to do with money than with anything else because Prince was offering Denise $5,000 for Purple Rain. But Denise thought she deserved more and wanted $1 million, which Prince said he simply couldn't offer. When Denise got the starring role offer in The Last Dragon, with higher pay and a record deal.
Yeah, really. Just a little shaken up, I think.
We got so much fair use up in here. Nothing but fair use. Lord Zed said lady at McDonald's driving a 7 and she's no Kathy.
God, what was that all about?
Denise was like, boy, bye. It gets interesting because Apollonia Kotero swoops in and takes what should have been Denise's spot, and that definitely created some more drama.
We drifted apart. I would hear from her from time to time on social media years later. I think once she found the Lord and was sober, I didn't understand the problems, the complexities of her life back then. I was very defensive at the time because I just didn't understand why, she created so many problems for me, and the rumors and my ex-husband, it really affected my marriage a lot.
Well, according to Tea Spill by Apollonia, Denise Matthews was taking advantage of a seeming resemblance between them and creating chaos.
Well, there were times, that my ex-husband would meet men and they would say, oh, I was with your wife last night, or I was with Apollonia, and it was Denise, Vanity, not me.
Oh, so they were mixing you up like that?
She would use my name.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like I said, drama. Word on the street is that the steaming romance between Prince and Denise was already on the rocks when she left Vanity 6.
Okay, we gotta shut this down in the chat right now. Okay, look, this is her in 85 and 2015. She basically doesn't wear any makeup. I mean, that's her in 2015 at the age of 56. I mean, that's not bad. And that's a candid shot, too. That's not touched up like Crawford's or Ireland's later, older photos. So she's 56 years old on the right there. And she's 26 on the left. Okay, I think the argument is over. Flat Bob says, I find a 10 to be a unicorn because they have to be drop dead gorgeous both inside and out. I don't know, I think she might match this description. Possibly. Possibly. Lord Zed says, I would give everything I own to smell a straw she used to drink soda. Wow. Wow. I don't know. This photo here is, it's in an article that says she's 50. I don't know if this photo is taken when she's actually 50 or earlier, but clearly this is well after the 80s. So this is her anywhere between 40 and 50 years old. I mean, I think this got shut down really quick now, didn't it? Justin said, OMG, receipts brought in. Yeah, I mean, there's no question here. There's no question when you look at totality of lifespan. And keep in mind, this is a drug addict that almost died from drug addiction, and she still looks like that. How many people can say that? I mean, she has no kidneys. She's on dialysis in these photos here. On the two photos on the right, she's on dialysis. So, yeah, there's really no comparison whatsoever with all of these other individuals brought up. All right, let's continue here.
Apollonia played the love interest. Ooh, she was bad.
Yeah, she was a vanity replacement is what happened, you know, because all the way up until basically we shot the movie, it was supposed to be vanity. Her and Prince had a falling out at the last minute, and the next thing I know, here comes Apollonia out of nowhere. I'd never heard of her before, never seen her before, but just right prior to us shooting the movie, here she comes.
Very similar look, too, to
Very similar.
Vanity.
I think he was going for the same thing there, you know.
Some folks whispering it all went downhill because Denise was hooked on that bad stuff, drugs. Apparently, Prince wasn't down to shower her with cash for Purple Rain. Maybe trying to be a tough love kind of guy to break her nasty habit. Did it work? Well, she bounced and went solo, so you be the judge. About her wildlife sponsored by Hollywood, Denise spills the tea in the interview with Jet Magazine. She says,
I tried men, women, everything. I didn't snort I smoked it.
Well, back in 1987, she dropped a major bomb on Arsenio Hall. She was engaged to Nikki Sixx, the bad boy bass player from Motley Crue.
Seriously?
I'm getting married, look.
Okay, here's something for Jet Magazine. Uh-oh.
She even cracked a joke about becoming Vanity Six again. Too cute.
You didn't,
Yeah, Nikki Sixx.
Nikki?
Yeah, I'll be Vanity Sixx once again.
I heard that. Now, Nikki, I know who
Motley
Nikki,
Crue.
yeah, I read in Fresh Magazine.
But apparently this romance was a recipe for disaster. Sixx later wrote a whole tell-all book, The Heroin Diaries, and we'll just say it wasn't a fairy tale. He spilled all the tea about their crazy fights and drug binges. Apparently, Vanity even showed him the dark side of freebasing the Big C.
Look at this in your book. I'm going to read a couple of statements. My new addiction is drinking tons of water right before I shoot coke, then puking it all up in the jacuzzi as my head explodes into the stratosphere. Why not? I'm engaged in a dance of death in this house.
I like to go in the closet and do drugs because when you're, especially on cocaine, you're getting paranoid.
Word on the street is that Vanity had a major scare in 1992 as the Big C got the best of her and she OD'd. They say the doctors gave her a mere 3 days to live, but somehow homegirl defied all odds. Crazy, right? She had to go through 23 surgeries and dialysis 3 times a week just to get back on her feet. Guess that near-death experience was her wake-up call, cause Vanity does a complete 180. Ditching the wild lifestyle and becoming a full-blown evangelist.
Gave her life to Jesus because she was almost dead. No, I gave my life to Jesus, and then I almost died. Hallelujah. I gave my life, I got saved, and I left the business and left the city, and I was living in here, and I got a job. After I did all that, then I got sick with a very high blood pressure and had a stroke, almost a small heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, blood clots on the brain, bleeding internally, and 3 days to live, and my kidneys were destroyed. But that happened after I left the business. So that's a real misconception, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is her here after a stroke, a heart attack, kidney failure, and dozens of surgeries to keep her alive. I mean, wow. Wow, what a strong spirit. Once again, I believe this is the greatest story never told.
Yeah, Vanity ditched the raw lyrics, the skimpy outfits and lingerie, the lead roles on the silver screen, the magazine covers, and posing nude for Playboy magazine. Twice. The crack coke and answered to a higher calling. The name Vanity was the first thing to go, and the drugs too.
I guess it was appropriate for, the meaning of it. It means worthlessness. Vanity means worthlessness, so that's why I don't call myself Vanity anymore. Praise God.
Oh.
That's a good reason to get rid of
That's
it.
the definition. I think well, that's a name not to name your children.
That's right. But it was appropriate for the lifestyle that I was living as Vanity. And not because it had anything to do really big with vain, because I wasn't staring at myself in the mirror all the time. As a matter of fact, I very much hated the life that I was living.
To Denise, it might have felt like the industry chewed her up like yesterday's news and pushed this crazy image on her. All the skimpy outfits and stuff. But nobody cared what was going on behind the scenes.
Oh, I was sitting in the car on a movie set, Da Vinci's War, and I had this part. I couldn't believe it. I prayed to the Lord that he would bring me a part in my life, and this before I had the Lord in my life. I prayed to God that he would bring me a part in my life where I could wear clothes.
And it's really, really sad that if Hollywood wasn't such a cesspool of degeneracy and occult Illuminati filth, like, think about the flourishing of these spirits if they were actually allowed to work on, like, wholesome, positive projects and thrive instead of this industry destroying them. Or attempting to. I mean, somebody as creative and charismatic and talented as she was, I mean, it would just be crazy, if Hollywood wasn't a cesspool. Yes, John Kilroy. But if it wasn't, I mean, just think about how many of these individuals could have thrived and been a positive force for humanity. I mean, they still are. I still believe the reason her story is the most important story never told is because of just the indomitable human spirit and what it can overcome. Just all of that demonic influence that it can still overcome. And like, how does your heart not break for her and what she went through? I mean, it's just kind of crazy, and is still positive and happy after all of this. I mean, the devil came for his due, and he didn't get it. I mean, just how many people would survive when she survived?
Isn't that sad that you would have to do that, you know, today? But the world's got you like that. They got you by the throat, okay? Satan has got you by the throat when you're not with God. Remember that. And so wear clothes. Now, isn't that sad that you would have to do that, you know, today? But the world's got you like that. They got you by the throat, okay? Satan has got you by the throat when you're not with God.
Did the coincidence theorists catch that? The Satanists got you by the throat. I mean, her testimony is so powerful. And again, look at her here. This is after the heart attacks, the strokes, the surgeries, the kidney removal, the kidney failures and removals. And her spirit still cannot be silenced. Her spirit still cannot be subjugated. Got a lot of trolls in the chat. This is clearly a female. Like, obviously there are some celebrities out there that are highly questionable. This is not one of them.
Remember that. And so I prayed to God, please, I need a film, you know, that's going to show me different, because I hate this business. I hate this business, God. And so God brought me this film. When people walked out of the movie theater, they said, Denise, you almost look like Mother Mary. I mean, it was like you had the disposition of Mother Mary. You were so sweet. I said, hallelujah. God can change us all, can he?
Maybe it was the endless parties or the pressure to stay young and sexy forever. But something wasn't right, and it all came to a head when Denise overdosed. Scary, right? Makes you wonder what goes on behind those velvet ropes, huh? Fresh off a year of being clean, Vanity snags herself an NFL player hubby. Apparently, she reads about his charity work and gets a message from the big guy upstairs to be his spiritual guide. 3 days after they meet, Vanity pops the question, and 1 month later, they tie the knot. Did you say whirlwind romance? But the whole marriage, disaster. Vanity, bless her heart, thinks she can be Mother Teresa to some NFL dude. Apparently, she was also inviting homeless people into their house for showers and stuff. Even gave out their house phone number like she was handing out candy. The whole thing imploded in 1996 and they got a divorce.
Did everybody hear that? She is literally, it's not just talking the talk. She's walking the walk. She is literally letting homeless people into their home. Showers, food, whatever, and just openly giving out their phone number so she could talk to people and help them find their way. I mean, talk about walking the walk. I mean, how impressive is that? I mean, how many top Hollywood stars or former stars would do that? Would open their home to homeless people? And for the record, here's what their home looked like. I hope everybody's sitting down because there's a major mind shock coming here. Huge mind shock coming. This is the home that she's opening to homeless people and freely giving out their phone number so she could talk to and help people at all times. Honor, empathy in the chat. Yes, obviously Hollywood and a lot of the occult is big on inversion, but that's not 100% of all stars, especially the ones that did not sell their soul. And for the people that say she did, we will continue examining this. We will continue examining this. Hope everybody's ready for the mind shock that's coming now. It's a huge one. The demons are just do not stop coming for her.
Like, this could not get any juicier, but it does. Her now ex-husband gets arrested for beating up some other woman later on. And then it turns out he's a full-on murderer. Seems like Vanity dodged a bullet with that one. But all that messing with crack cocaine gets arrested for beating up some other woman later on. And then it turns out he's a full-on murderer.
And not just a murderer of one person. Supposedly he killed 4 guys. 4 guys that they know of.
Seems like Vanity dodged a bullet with that one. But all that messing with crack cocaine trashed her kidneys and left her hooked up to a machine for hours every day doing dialysis. Even a new kidney in 1997 wasn't a magic bullet of any kind, but it did buy Denise a few good years. But then another illness, sclerosing encapsulating peritonitis, popped up in 2015, and that took its toll. Girl just couldn't win, and it seemed like her body was simply beat. At the age of 57, Denise Matthews passed away from kidney failure at a hospital in Fremont, California on February 15, 2016. Denise had a pretty unique dying wish. She wanted her ashes scattered over the Hawaiian coast and asked for a big party afterward, complete with cake, balloons, and ice cream. No tears allowed. At the time of her death, her estimated net worth was $100,000. And she left most of her stuff to her church. Her right-hand couple, the Harpers, are inheriting her cars, a blinged-out diamond ring, a bunch of other jewelry, and even her furniture, and, wait for it, a sword collection. Pretty unexpected, right? On top of that, they get a hefty chunk of the money from her bank accounts, plus 40% of the dough from her tell-all autobiography, I Blame Vanity. Vanity, or should we say Denise, went from pop star royalty to hitting rock bottom with drugs. But then she did a complete 180 and found her purpose in faith. Pretty wild, right? Denise Matthews' story proves that anyone, no matter how messed up, can get their life together. It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest purpose comes from the craziest journeys that can take you to unexpected places. That can take you to unexpected places.
So, that was our introduction. Deep Dive Lord said that was just the intro. That was the intro into the greatest story never told. And, yeah, there's so much more here that will all be revealed. Where in the next episode, we're going to continue with Vanity and her journey and her literal, possibly literal battle with demons, which we'll get into. Everything from actual mirrors to conjurings to using obviously drugs to the thinning of the veil between dimensions to possibly be under the influence of the dark forces, that they all wanted her soul, but apparently they couldn't get it. And I think that's why. I'll just check the link in the description. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like and share, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Patreon. You can also become a YouTube member right here on YouTube. Helps with our channel that way. Questions, comments, theories, thoughts, suggestions, rebuttals, debunkings of any kind, leave them in the comment section. This is Bruce McGuire signing off. Catch you guys next time.